Hey guys, it's Brandon Miniman from Pocketnow.com, and this is a video comparison of a VGA screen with a QVGA screen of the same size on two different devices. On the right, we have the X800 Glowfish from E10. It has VGA resolution, so that is 480 across and 640 down. And on the left, we have the Glowfish X500, which has half that resolution. If you do the math, the X800 has 4 times the amount of pixels than does the X500. Now, if you don't know what a pixel is, pixels are the little dots that make up the picture on the screen. So the more pixels you have in the same area, the higher the pixel density, the clearer the screen, the more data you can fit on the screen without scrolling around. So we're going to do a bunch of tests here to see if it's just a novelty to have a VGA screen or if it actually improves usability and makes the experience better. Okay, the first thing I want to take a look at is how the icons look. So I'm going to turn on both devices. Close that. And here we are in the program menu on the X800 on the right, and I'm going to go to the, whoop, missed that, program menu. I'm not sure if you can tell over the video, but the icons are much sharper, and they're actually the same if I scroll up, because E10 devices have the same kind of folders and file structure. So if I move it closer, you can kind of get a feel for how these icons look. And then the X500. They're much more grainy on the X500 than they are on the X800. Okay, let's do the same by going into the settings menu. Somewhere I'm sure we've all been many, many times. And here we are. Now what's interesting is the X500 screen is actually whiter. They're both on max brightness right now, and you would think that the better quality screen would have a more vivid white, but that's not the case here. So here we can see the kind of updated icons for Windows Mobile 6 on the right, and some of them are similar though between 5.0 and 6. So let's turn that back on. So the icons are definitely more clear, no doubt about it. Now let's take a look at Pocket Informant 8, the best PIM replacement in my opinion, and in the opinion of many. And I'm going to, okay, here we are in the same exact view. They look slightly different, they're on different days. Let me get them on the same day so you can have a better feel for what I'm talking about here. And here you can kind of get a feel for how a higher resolution screen allows more data to fit on the screen at one time. So here on Monday I can see all 4 of my appointments, but on the X500 I can only see part of 3. So having the higher resolution screen lets you see more without having to scroll. I'm going to change the view here. I'm going to go to day week view. It's not very telling. Let's go to the week view. This should be good. Yeah, same thing applies here. You can see more data on the screen. On the left, on the X500, you can only see about 2.5 on Monday, and here you can see all 3 on the left on the X800. And certainly the text is much easier to read, I think, on the X800, even though it looks smaller. It is smaller, but it's also a lot more clear. Okay, so now let's take a look how web pages render in Internet Explorer. So I'm going to bring it up in both. And I'm going to go to the Favorites menu. I'm going to open up MSN, nothing too fancy. Whoops, got the wrong page there. MSN. Here we go. And it looks very similar, nothing terribly different. The text is a little smaller on the right, you can see a little more. But wait, there's an option in Pocket Internet Explorer on a VGA device. You go to View and use High Resolution, and watch what happens now. Wow, a completely different story. Everything just got super sharp and super crisp. Look at the difference now. So here's the X500. Now here's the X800. The text is really small, yes, and if you have eyesight problems, it'll probably be hard to see. But for me, it looks really, really good. I want you to notice something. I think because of the intensity of having to use the additional resolution, it makes scrolling much slower on the X800. See that? Compared to the X500, which scrolls very smooth. Very smooth. Interesting. Let's go to another website now. We'll stay in this high resolution mode. We'll go to Pocketnow.com, the mobile page, and see what the difference is. Hopefully it'll spread out across the whole screen there. And it didn't let me change the view to desktop, see if that helps. That looks better. Now we can see everything. And there's just a ton more screen data here. And again, the scrolling is a little bit choppy compared to the X500, which has smooth scrolling. And another place that the VGA screen really shines is with images and video, especially if they're captured or recorded in a high resolution. Here's just a standard picture that was included on the device, and we're zoomed in at the same degree, and I can definitely tell that the X800 has a lot more detail, and the picture looks crisper and cleaner here than it does here. I think the colors look a little better on the X500. I think they look more natural, but as we discovered earlier, the X500 actually has whiter whites than the X800, and look how smooth that scrolls while this is choppy, having to redraw the screen. And finally, I want to check out Windows Live Search. It's a free application. Very, very neat application too. And here's Live Search, and go down a little bit, there's Live Search. Okay. It says we're in Atlanta, Georgia, that's okay, it's the default. The X800's taking its time loading things. Still not loaded. There it goes. So the icons are bigger on the X500. They don't scale to VGA resolution. Let me turn this back on the X800. But let's go into map. Let's see if there's a difference in map. And yes, this is the default view for the map, and you get to see a lot more data on the screen here than you do on the X500. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Hint, you can also be, okay. And wow, look how choppy that zoom in was compared to the X500, which actually has a slower processor. But anyway, I can see the names of the cities because of the clarity of them over here on the X800. On the X500, they're bigger, but also a little bit more pixelated. So let's go back to another option in Live Search. I'm going to go to Movies. So it's searching for showtimes. And of course the X800 is slower. There it goes. Okay, looks about the same. I think we get a few more titles. This ends with Charlie Watson's War, and you can see it kind of on the bottom of the list there. I'm going to click on one of these movies, and it will show me a little picture. Pictures look about the same, so no real difference here. So let's go back one more time. This time we'll go to traffic. And as with the maps, you get a zoomed out view which will let you see more data on the screen. So that concludes the video comparison of a VGA screen on a Windows mobile device with a QVGA screen on a Windows mobile device. We've learned that in some instances having a VGA screen is indeed a novelty, but in some cases it's very useful, like in Internet Explorer, browsing, using a map application, looking at pictures, looking at video. Though at what cost? The X800 has problems scrolling, redrawing the screen. It may be a software optimization issue, it may be a problem with Windows Mobile and a higher resolution screen. There's not that many high resolution Windows Mobile devices out there, so we will find that out in the future. That's it for now.